Hello, my name is Lauren Forbes. For those of you who don't know me, I was seriously injured twice in under 6 months. I fractured my T8, 10, and 12 in my back. A couple months later, after being forced back to work, I fell and shattered both my arms. 6 months to a year before I should have been back to work with my first injury. Been through pretty much hell and back with compensation. They've tortured me, tortured my family, taken pretty much everything away that we have, that I worked for, that my wife worked so hard for. Just came back from our second secret meeting with Jennifer and Mark, who pretty much is setting the tone for the next, how can I say, I want to say battle, but it's more like a war. And this is a declaration of war that I am putting forth right now to any compensation employee. This isn't a threat. I'm not coming for physical harm. I am coming for your face. I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to embarrass the people that have taken everything away from me, have taken everything away from my family. I am definitely not happy with the situation that has definitely come about. They've accepted me for mental conditions permanently that they've caused. Not because of my injury, because of their neglect and their torture. All of what they've brought to the table so far is not acceptable to me. After this last week, me and my wife have decided to give my kids to my sister, sign them over through the system. They'll be leaving on the 27th of this month. Compensation just delays more and more. False hope, false promises, false everything. Showing nothing but sociopathic type.
Well, I think what's important to mention, sweetheart, is that as we were sitting there with the kids today, and you know, that's important to notice, the kids did attend today's meeting.
Yeah, I brought my kids down so they could see the faces of, you know, what they're harming. And there was no care in their eyes. There was no emotion in their faces. As my wife sat there and cried and talked about what our daily life is, our weekly life is, how we struggle, you know, to feed and clothe our children. Pushed into a position of poverty, and not one that there's, you know, a hope to get out of. It's in place poverty for life. I will never get better. I'll never do my trade again. I'll never do a job where I can make even close to the amount of money that I was capable of making, and that I did make. And they show no care, even though they come up as their special care division. I think this is a new one they invented for me, just like the whole YouTube security division. They're going to be inventing a few more security divisions by the time that we're through. They've kicked us up quite a bit. They pushed me to the point where I'm either going to go insane or I'm going to fight this tooth and nail. And I've never been a person to just roll over and die. Though I've been pretty quiet these last couple months, I've been patient. I've waited, collected, researched, and now it's time. As of the 27th, everything in my house goes for sale. Everything that I own, except for the clothes that me and my wife have. We're going to move to a tent on my sister's front lawn for a few days, and then we go to Vancouver. And when we go to Vancouver, this is where the fun starts. I told you today, Mark and Jennifer, that I have a way around your no policy to the press issue. You are definitely disturbing a beast that you have no idea how to deal with. I am so unorthodox in what I'm going to do with you guys. You're going to be writing some new policies, some new divisions. Mark, you're going to be definitely getting a handful. You're not going to like me anymore. Well, I know you don't like me now, but I think that feeling's pretty mutual. So that's the score, ladies and gentlemen. They've taken now everything from me.
Yeah, well, I think it's important to mention that as we were telling them that, you know, we have to pass the kids off to your sister, and this becomes a burden to, you know, your external family, which is what happens a lot with injured workers, right? They have to pass the care of their children on to extended family because they just can't tend to them and provide for them the way that they could at one time. And even as we sat there and everybody crying, just nothing. There was nothing. There was no emotion.
You have to be a sociopath, psychopath to work.
You got the tears of a 9-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 13-year-old looking back at you, and there was nothing. Absolutely nothing.
So much to the fact I couldn't even stay in the meeting anymore. I had to leave. Because if I didn't leave, well, let's just say I had to leave. And we'll leave it at that.
So I think what's important at this stage in the game is to explain to people that at this point they've seen everything that we have, but it's not everything in its entirety of what we have.
What we've done up until this point is
a quarter of what we're sitting on as far as surveillance and footage and documentation and
of fraud and forgery and torture. Like, they have no idea the actual documents and proof that we do have. And like I told them today, they're sadly mistaken when they came here today with this waste of my time. It's stuff you could talk to me on the phone about, but they fly up here to get their extra money or whatever. I don't know what the fuck their agenda was today, but it's
so
nothing.
Our plan for Vancouver, of course, what we'll do is we'll show people on the 27th when the kids leave, because we'll be departing them on the bus.
Yeah.
And then after that point, we'll kind of record and so on of how things are going throughout the house as we're unloading and getting rid of material, pets, that kind of thing. And then after that, we'll also record our trip down to your sister's and our stay there with your teeth and all that kind of stuff for the 3rd of July.
So let's just go over what they've offered me since we've been doing these YouTubes. I went from being cut off for non-compliance and pensioned out at $5.66 a week.
A month.
Sorry, a month.
Oh, that's the telephone. We gotta pause.
Yeah.